All right. Hey, Dawn, welcome to the show today.
Andrea, man, it is so great to be here with you. You are a wild woman.
Like attracts like, my sister.
Yeah. Shoot. So what are we
Awesome.
gonna talk about? Gosh, there's nothing going on. There's nothing to talk about.
No, there's absolutely nothing going on. You
Yeah,
know?
okay. Just make something up. Okay.
Let's talk crypto. It's so funny. So one of my clients, she's like a dear friend of mine. She takes me out to lunch every once in a while. So she took me out to lunch today, and one of her friends is in crypto. And she's telling me that VyStar Bank um is accepting crypto to open up an account. I started levitating. I'm
Wait,
like,
wait, wait. What?
it's not true. But Stacy took her daughter and she said, you can open up an account with cash, a check, or crypto. So I'm waiting to hear what happens. But we went to VyStar after lunch, and I was like, can like Patty's like, we can open up an account using crypto. And the woman was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're so against it though. And it's almost like they have like this like visceral, like angry response. And I was like, I just kind of like tapped the table a little bit. I'm like, please do some research because crypto is the new financial system.
Well, even if they know, I'm sure at that level of the people that are just working at the desks and stuff, I'm sure they don't know.
Right.
Maybe they don't know. But because the upper ups, yeah. I mean, what we're doing, we're taking money out of the system. I keep as much money out of my bank account as I can possibly afford to do and still like have my cash reserves for business operations and different things. It's painful for me to leave money in the bank, so it's like, yeah, they don't want it going out because then I can squirrel it away into my own hard wallet and use decentralized exchanges. And yeah, it's not like because I'm doing fraudulent things, it's so I can you know I don't know, they can track what the addresses. It's not like I'm being like that, but they just, I don't know. So the ones that do know are mad because they were taking money out. They can't maintain their reserves that they need to because people want money out. People who know are, to me, the ones that are smart are just spreading out, diversifying, and it's like, okay,
Right.
you might get part of me, but you ain't getting all of me. You ain't
Exactly,
getting all of me.
exactly. Right. Because, like, still to this day, most of us, we need bank accounts, right? I mean, we
Mhm.
pay bills and we're using dollars. But, like, diversification is so key. We know the banks don't have money. If you want to go take 10, 15 grand out of your bank account, well, you better call and let them know.
No, and
Right.
plus you're a terrorist. You're automatically suspected as a terrorist, which is, the pot calling the kettle black. But
Which is insane. And then, I find it really interesting too, because I was seriously thinking, okay, we have a fractional reserve banking system, right? I put $100 in, they can lend it out. They lend it out to the bank, that next bank keeps like $90, lends the rest out. And it goes on and on and on and on. But what I found really interesting is, like, if you go to Circle's website, Circle is backed by Goldman Sachs. They created the United States digital coin, the USDC coin, which a lot of us use. That's backed 1-to-1 with 100% reserve.
interesting.
Right. And I'm like, well, because I keep trying to think, like, I don't think the dollar is going away. It's just we have more commodities, we have more assets, and platforms to me, platforms are taking over trading markets. So when I think about, okay, well, USDC is back 1-to-1, is the new financial system going eventually to be backed 1-to-1?
Yeah, that's, well, it sure will be interesting to see how all of this works out. I mean, my what's your take on how stable coins are? Because to avoid taxable events, and to move in and out, like, yeah, I have to hope that USDC and Tether, those are the two that I have some of. What's your opinion on that? Like, because that will be a bummer. Because even I don't want to hold everything in one of the stable coins, because we've seen a few of them, depeg and crash and burn and whatever sort of
Yeah.
ritual they had going on for that person, that company at that time.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I remember when Signature Valley Bank failed, we saw the USDC get depegged. And what happened?
How far did that go? How far depeg did it get?
It was at least 10%.
Oh, wow. That's more than I thought.
Right. So when I saw it happening, and I think everyone did this, everyone converted USDC into Bitcoin like that, Bitcoin shot up. So I think that Bitcoin is definitely, even though it's super volatile, it is a really good store of value, I hold both as well. I feel like if Tether fails at this point, it's a national security issue because I do believe that Tether works with the United States government.
Interesting.
So yeah. So, and again, I think like we print the Tether, it's like printing dollars.
Right, right, right. Yeah, well, great. Well, I got into encrypted the same year you did. I could have got in. I mean, my whole world's been when real estate and private notes since 2004. I quit my nursing job and just became an entrepreneur. And then, but I just heard it from around. You know who it was? A guy named David Seaman. Did you ever know who that guy was? I think he used to work for the Huffington Post or something like that as a journalist or writer. But anyway, and I had a wife at the time, and was listening to him, says, these young kids, they keep talking about like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm like, and she goes, I just think we should do some, go figure out how. So I go, okay, I'll go figure out how. And so we positioned and we bought Bitcoin was 2,500, I think,
Nice.
when we got, and ETH was like 350, 400, somewhere like that. And then we saw that that winter, I think, is the one where it went up to 20,000. And we're like looking at each other like, what the heck? Our whatever we put in, 20 grand just turned into 120 or 150, but we didn't sell. We should have, but it's just been, so I've been just doing a lot of stuff on the side and what I can figure out. And I'm so happy that I found you, because like you are so great at just having your brain into it full time. Like I love it. And I've spent a lot of time and money and making mistakes, learning it. But like, if I wish I would have had an Andrea back at that time. So anyone who's listening, if you don't already love this woman, I mean, you should sign up, get under her watchful care. And because it's so sensitive, right? It's so
Right.
sensitive, like you can't trust everyone with
Right.
your process, your information, to not, it'd be so easy for someone who knows to steal and scam other people. There's so much of
True,
that.
true. So much of it. There's so much of that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And honestly, like that's the main reason why I transitioned out of being a technical recruiter into cryptocurrency just to help people, I'll show you the research, learn, but it's really important that you become your own bank.
Yeah.
And it's like whether you have $50 or 5 million bucks, it doesn't really matter because you can get a free app, transfer that $50 from your bank account. And if something happens, now your money's stored on the blockchain, right? No one can take that away from you. But in your bank account, you know, they can and they will if they need it. And we know this to be true, right? I wrote a song about it. Dump cash, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
and yeah. It's tough too because my ex-wife and I still help her manage a lot of her financial stuff because she's like a brilliant artist, but she's not a numbers financial person necessarily. So I still help her a lot. And I said, well, we're going to be taking profits. I said, I'm going to, because she's like, it's just pretend money. I pretend like it's not there. And that's good. You should put money in there that you don't rely on. It's like a bonus, right?
right, right.
And she says, well, what makes me feel safe is money in the bank. If I had 100, I said, we could easily take off a couple $100,000 and you'd still have plenty to let ride. And she goes, well, I would love to have that in my bank account because she's very traditional in that way. And I'm like, oh my God, that thought of having that much money in the bank just freaks me out. So what would you say to people that, you have to go with what people feel good about. So what do you say to someone who says, that's great, I'm going to take some of my gains and I just need to have it there so I know that I don't have to worry about money, so she can do her artistic projects that are just phenomenal and meaningful and beautiful and just life-changing. And so what would you say to someone like that? I need money in the bank. What would you say to them?
Keep money in the bank under $250,000 and invest 1 to 5% into Bitcoin, maybe a little bit into Ethereum, and call it a day. The
Well,
thing is,
she's already going to still have Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other things that we did. So
right,
she's going to leave some in the crypto space on her hard wallet that I keep telling her, have you updated your firmware in the
yeah,
last 6 months? Please go plug it in,
yeah.
But I just kind of worry about a lot of cash in the bank. But you still think, hey, if that's what makes somebody feel safe and they can do their life and do their passion, have it there, but stay under to me, it's all fake. FDIC insurance, they can't cover that. But
They can't cover it. They cannot cover the amount of money if we have a domino effect, right? So just yesterday, New York Community Bank, the stock dropped 35%. Yeah. So,
holy cow.
right. So is this going to be a new start of contagion? So again, it's just like, I don't know if this becomes like a domino effect. The banks can't pay these high interest rates, but it's a really good window to implement a new banking system, an app on your phone with the Federal Reserve Bank. Our central bank will replenish your money digitally. I don't know, right? But the thing is, when I'm looking to see, like, if I look at your portfolio and you're like, I got $500,000 in the bank and I got 50 grand in Bitcoin and ETH.
That's opposite of what it should be.
Well, okay, right? But at the same time, if that money goes away in your bank, what's the price of Bitcoin now? So let's try to preserve your wealth because I'm not expecting all of us to come out of this unscathed, right?
Right.
So, but I'm in the same thinking as you. I have enough money in the bank to cover my bills. That's it. I mean, land is really good. Gold and silver is really good. I got that Glint card. Did you get yourself a Glint card?
I did. I think I only have, I don't know, I just must have put 5,000 in it because then it's something, but it's not self-custody either. So I'm still just balancing everything. But yeah, I did that. Totally
Right. But
did.
it's another tool, right? It's just
Yeah.
another tool. If
Right.
our supply chain gets messed up, which is looking, like it is, and
Yeah.
if goods and services go back up again, well, then gold's going to go up. so,
Right.
and we could use that card. We're paying for goods and services in gold.
And gold. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. No, I love having it. And I got the trust wallet so that I can, that's what I did for Christmas is get everybody go. I said, I am not wrapping any presents. I do not feel like wrapping presents and giving you guys all my kids are in their late 20s, early 30s. It's like, I don't want to buy you a toy. All of you should be I had 4 kids by the time I was your age. I don't want to buy you another thing,
Yeah.
and I'm not wrapping anything. I just felt grumpy about it. I didn't. So I said, but I'm going to go download. Here's the thing. Everyone, if you want something from me, you have to go download the Trust Wallet. So it's on your phone. And then I will give you some crypto. That's
Nice.
my present to you, plus some, backup emergency supplies to restock their car kits that I gave them the year before. So it's all emergency preparedness and crypto. And so, they were so like, and here, I'm old. Come on, I'm sick. I'll be 60 in July. Right. And I've got these 30 somethings. They're like, doo. And like, they were so like, I made it so real. I said, when it was so easy for me to, you just scan the QR codes and you do the thing. And it was just like that. They had money in their account and they're like, oh my gosh, we can see now how we can pay and receive in crypto. And it's super easy. It's like as easy as Venmo or something like that. And I go, yeah.
Yeah, except you don't need to ask Venmo for permission.
Exactly. So they're going, someone was trying to pay me and I told them I didn't know how and now I know how. And I go, yeah. And if you go to the farmer's market, you could get some of those, you could theoretically do this. And it's just a, little
Right.
easy swipe back and forth, easy peasy. And the only thing I forgot to do is with the first, I think I did this 6 or 7 times Christmas Day. All I did is train people on crypto and how to use their app and stuff. I forgot to give them a little bit of ETH. So none of them can swap or send it out. I said, you're gonna have to get your own ETH on there.
But it's such a cool learning experience.
Yeah.
And it's such a wonderful thing to do, like as a mom. Seriously, because we have to help our friends, our family become more sovereign. We are living in uncertain times. We don't know for sure like what's going to happen, but are we at the end of the dollar and maybe the beginning of Bitcoin? Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's a teenager. The dollar is at the end of its life cycle stage in terms of fiat currencies. The same thing happens over and over again. I'm not saying the dollar is going down and going to zero, but it's going towards the end of its life cycle. And then let's throw in the blockchain that's building the infrastructure for artificial intelligence to like really thrive. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to be using dollars for like artificial intelligence for CPUs, GPUs, like all these different platforms? We're going to be using cryptocurrency because we are. I am. And I never use a dollar. So,
Yeah. Yeah, well, and the argument, for the boomer types, they have such a hard time with this, except there's a couple that actually listen to me, and then like this is 2019, and he couldn't come. I was running live events up at Lake Tahoe, Property and Paper Summit, and he couldn't come, but he paid for my time to talk on the phone, and I said, well, the only thing I can see that you're not doing is if you want to start lending money, here's a hard money broker in your state that I think you should hook up with. And he did that. And I said, you should probably maybe just buy a Bitcoin or something. Buy a Bitcoin. That's all I said. And I didn't hear from him until about 4 months ago, and he scheduled another call for me. And in that time, he'd done tons of hard money loans with that broker. And he not only bought a Bitcoin, he started mining with
So
a group of people, and he's got a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin. And his story was this, is that, back in the day when Amazon was just a young company, all the news media could do was just poo-poo on him and say, no, this is a gem. It's not going anywhere. Don't invest in this. And he said, well, look where it went. I would have been a millionaire with just a little bit of money, but I got scared away by the talking heads. And he says, they're doing the same thing with Bitcoin and crypto, and I'm not going to believe the story this time. And he just went all in on it. The guy makes a lot of money. He has a air conditioning business, makes 3 million, that brings in 3 million a year. So he's doing great as a small business owner, but then he's done real estate. He's a bunch of money that he keeps rotating in notes secured by real estate. And then just got into Bitcoin, and it's just like, he goes, if it just even goes to 100, let alone 200 ever, I mean, I can quit everything I'm doing and just, he's like majorly set for life and generational wealth.
yeah.
Generational wealth.
And that's the beauty about this moment of time, because it's very rare when the average person has the opportunity to generate generational wealth. And here we are. And for people who are working 9 to 5, coming home, eating dinner and watching Netflix, stop watching Netflix, right? Because
Turn it off.
right, because once you start learning about cryptocurrency, once you start learning, and through cryptocurrency, you start learning what goes on in the government and all these different, like non-elected officials and what their agendas are, how political everything is. And you're just like, okay, it's time for us to take back our country, right? I mean, this is nuts. I
Totally.
mean, yeah.
Talk about the revolution going on in Texas and all that. I mean, this financial thing is even bigger. It's even bigger, as bigger. Like taking back our financial system solves a lot of problems just like that.
A lot of problems, and something as basic but yet as profound. If we could just stop printing money and we buy Bitcoin, we can't print Bitcoin to go to
Right.
war. So in essence, Bitcoin alone can usher in peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the same, I'm probably really going woo woo here. I'm not sure, but for centuries, from what I gather in all the random weird things that I tune into, is for literally maybe tens, hundreds of thousands of years, there have been, the earth was divided up into these different zones and they've been like playing us like pawns. I mean, going back to the myths of the Greek mythology and stuff like that, where you got these angry gods fighting, duking it out, and they're using all of us little peons, to fight each other, and they're still doing it. And then to appease these gods, human sacrifice, they're still doing it.
Yeah. And I
They're
wish
still
we could come together, like, and just live in love. And as we evolve as a species, like, I'm just holding that space and I'm holding that light. Because it's the same thing with crypto. This is a moment of time. It's the same thing. We have AIs here. It's not coming. By the end of this year, people's lives are going to be very disrupted. I'm watching it happen. generative AI built into your phone, artificial intelligence computers, right? The little like regular glasses that like you press a button and you have a mixed world of like
Yeah,
physical and
that is
virtual.
well. Hey, just out of curiosity, when you say generative AI, how do you distinguish that from other AI? What does that mean? I don't even know what you mean when you say that.
Oh, so that's a great question. So generative AI is, for example, ChatGPT. So there's different versions of ChatGPT, and it has access to all of the information in the cloud. So it understands text, images, music, videos. So you go and you type into the little chat bot and you can say, I would like a bedtime story for my 3 children, ages 3 to 5, include, a frog, a bear, and a mouse. And it's amazing.
So you're just saying it generates answers.
And it generates the answers, it creates the stories, but it's accessing all the information. So ChatGPT passed the law exam, the bar. I mean, so, and again, we're at the beginning of some of these iterations, and I'm starting to see companies like PayPal just laid off 9% of its workforce. It's not because they're doing poorly, it's because they don't need people anymore. They incorporated generative AI into their user interface on their payment platform.
Yeah.
So the way we market things, advertise for things, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a real estate broker, your job is either going to be eliminated or disrupted, and you need to learn how to use AI tools. And we have about a year for people to catch up. Like I mentioned this before, like in Dubai, every single student has an artificial intelligence tutor.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Why don't we, what's going on with our kids? Right. So it's really easy to do. Dubai is like the size of Texas, but I'm guaranteeing you next school year, all the kids are going to have an AI tutor, and they need it.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
but what goes to all the people who that's their living is tutoring.
right. Well, right. So one of two things is going to happen. We're going to create new jobs that we don't know exist yet.
Right.
Okay, because we've gone through major paradigm shifts before. This one is obviously different, or we're going to have a lot of the population on universal basic income. There's no way around it. Whether you're pro UBI, against, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is this. When I was looking, last night, I taught about artificial intelligence, and, people will argue with me, Andrea, driverless cars are so far away. No, they're not. They're not. And like this technology goes from 0 to 100 like that. And when it's at 100, you're talking millions of drivers, Uber, Lyft drivers, truck drivers, everyone's out of a job, right? They launched Waymo in Phoenix, Arizona. Now it's in San Francisco. Next is LA. After that is Austin, Texas. We have another AI driverless company called Cruise in Charlotte, in Atlanta, in Miami. You get the point? At the end of the year, and Elon Musk said this, I made a little clip of his interview. Elon Musk's driverless car business is going to have a ChatGPT moment by the end of this year. And I mean, and he already did the Neuralink thing the other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I don't know how long we've been going here, but in my world, a lot of people are like, "Hey, I need income. I want to generate cash flow. I need to invest. I want return on investment." And they live off of the interest. Maybe they bought a bunch of property, then they're converting it they're carrying paper on it. So now they've got a note portfolio instead of a property portfolio. So they're like, yeah, that's part of their retirement plan. I'm living off the cash flow. What's the equivalent? And I already kind of know, but I just want you to say it. What's someone who wants cash flow? They don't want to touch the principal. They just want to live off. What does crypto have to offer?
Right. So the safest thing that people can do is you stake your coins on the blockchain. So, so basically like I usually introduce people to Cardano because it's such an easy user interface and it's super simple to stake your coins, right? So you would buy your Cardano, you would send it over to like, let's say a Yuri wallet. And from there, you can pick a pool, right? So a node is just like a server. So if we think we need thousands and thousands of servers to decentralize our current network. And if you stake your tokens and help, pay with like, we'll give you transaction fees, we can stabilize our blockchain. We're going to pay you basically interest, right? Is a way that I could try to describe it to someone, but you get rewards for putting up your tokens. So, and then for Cardano, you earn about 5%, but you get paid out a piece of that 5% every 5 days. So you're compounding your interest every 5 days.
So someone in my world would say, well, that sounds like a bank CD, a CD at the bank. That's what that sounds like. I can do T-bills or a CD at the bank for 5% right now. Is that what so you put your money there and it pays you and yeah. So is that a good analogy?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But at the same time, it's just like, especially right now, and we've been in a bear market, right, for all these years. So for all these years, every 5 days, I'm earning a piece of my Cardano, and then I still believe in this project. They're building amazing things on the platform. So if I invest $1 in a CD, well, I'm just earning dollars. But if I'm buying Cardano during the bear market at 30 cents, now it's 50 cents. And I believe it'll be, it'll definitely go back to its all-time high, which was just over $3. So not only am I compounding interest, but my investment is growing because of adoption.
Yeah, because the value, unlike the dollar that keeps losing value, Cardano and similar projects will have nothing to do but gain value.
Yeah.
Unless you don't buy the thesis that crypto means anything. But I think the biggest thing is so funny. Everything's a scam. It's a rug pull. It's manipulated. What do you think the dollar is? The dollar, okay, if you don't want to say it's manipulated, like a dollar's always a dollar, but the buying power, they've robbed us blind. It's just straight up theft.
Yeah.
It's straight up theft.
Totally.
They don't, your dollar's still there and it's still worth $1, but the dollar doesn't buy anything.
No.
It doesn't buy anything. Like, that's the worst Ponzi scheme I've ever seen with like the respectableness of convention on it. Just like people say, well, you can't do drugs, but you can buy alcohol, you can drink alcohol. Well, why is alcohol okay? I mean, it does a lot of damage. Well, because for some reason, it's okay. It's socially okay. But yeah, I mean, I love that. I mean, staking is just like putting something in a bank account to get interest, except for if it doesn't go to zero, well, the dollar's practically at zero, right? It's lost almost 100% of its buying power, 98% of its buying power. But it can go up so much higher, and it's supporting the new paradigm. But yeah, even through the bear market, you're still earning your tokens. And that's like getting just hundreds of free tokens just over in the bear market, hundreds of free tokens that it doesn't seem like a lot right now, but it will be a lot when it gets back. In the case of Cardano, even gets just back to $3. Now that's something worth paying attention to all of a sudden,
Right. And I think like even if people you know, and I don't really don't want to, I think this is probably going to be like one of the biggest bear market or bull markets we're about to go through. But normally I would tell people just buy like a little bit, you know. So I had a client, she held some Solana and she was like, I don't like one of the platforms, crypto.com. I have so many problems with it. It's not worth anything. I don't care. And I'm like, you're gonna care. This was during the bear market. So I get her on and she was able to sign into her account and she like yelled, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It went up.
It went up like 100%, right? Or not 10 times, right? So she
Yeah.
turned like $150 investment into over $1,000. And it's
Right.
like, and again, it's so hard to wrap our heads around what's going on, but it's like, you know, we have the internet and then we had the cloud. We have our smartphones. We have
Mhm.
apps on our smartphones. But all of this stuff gets hacked every single day. What solves that problem? The blockchain. Thousands of nodes all over the world in
They
every
can't be
single
hacked.
country.
You can't hack them all at the same time.
Exactly. So it's safer. Even if we stick with the United States dollar, I'd rather have it on the blockchain.
Yeah, got you. Yeah. So I'm just, gosh, do you mind that I'm asking questions? I just think this is so great talking to you. Like, uh, but maybe you want to ask me questions instead of I ask you questions. I don't
Well,
know.
let's tell me about your business. Tell everybody. Tell everybody.
Well, after I quit my nursing job in 2004, I fell in love. I just got to the point where, well, I just had so many babies. Like for a long time, it was just uh my my partner and uh from previous heterosexual marriages I had three girls and she had one boy, and they were all within 3.5 years of each other. Seriously, because I did boom, boom, boom like a good little Mormon girl. Right. So I had them right in a row. Actually, the third one was an accident, but she's the best accident that's ever happened to me. So, and lucky because the next year I left their dad. So I guess she was like, I need to be part of this family and I'm coming whether you're ready for me or not. So God, I would have a baby on the front, a bit in the front pack, a baby on the backpack, and then one in the stroller, and I'd go down to the park. I mean, that
Yeah.
was my life, and I was pregnant and nursing for like 3.5 years solid of my life. My partner at the time, she had a little boy that was about the same age as my middle girl. So when we got together, we had 4 babies in diapers. We'd had 4 car seats. Uh, it was something. What was the question? How did I even get started on this? Um, but anyway,
Tell me about how you got you're giving me a background of how you got into being the note queen.
oh, okay. I don't know how come I started talking about babies then. It's just so much part of my life. But anyway, yeah, so I had a nursing job, and I always thought, but I was like a weekend warrior, like I would go to the conferences. Like I thought I was smart enough to figure out how to not trade my time for dollars, working for an hourly wage. That I should be smart enough to figure out how I can get off that hamster wheel. And so I just went. I fell in love with the note business. And the note business, especially historically and back in the day, today it means a lot more things to more people. But historically, the note business is when someone does owner financing on their own property. Let's say a longtime landlord says, they own the property free and clear. They don't want to manage it anymore. They said they come to the tenants, you've been good tenants. If you can give me a down payment, I'll carry the paper for you. I'll be your bank. I'm not lending you money like a bank would lend money. I'm lending you my equity, but it's the same paperwork. You got a note and a security instrument, whether that's a deed of trust or mortgage. So that's private paper. That's owner carry paper. Well, if that So then the tenant goes, great, here's my 10,000 and I'm going to pay you 1,000 a month. Well, at some point, the seller says, I like the 1,000 a month, or they die and their heirs go. We don't want the note. We don't want 1,000. We want a lump sum of change. So they can sell that note because it represents like an annuity, a receivable. Right. So then I could come in and say, well, how much balance is on that note? Okay, well, 100,000. Okay, well, I'd pay you 80,000 or 60,000, 60,000, depending on the terms of the note and the buyer's credit score and the type of collateral. Depends on how much I can pay for that note. So then I will buy on the secondary market. I'm basically the secondary market for owner carry paper, or I buy and sell. It's been 25 years since I've used a bank for anything. So I buy with owner financing. I sell with owner financing. I carry lots of paper for people. I've got one right now. It's this little mobile home that I rehabbed, and I'm advertising, I'll take 10% down and you can pay me this much per month.
That's awesome.
Okay. And then I've got investing clients who they want to return. So then I'll bring them in as a capital partner. So then I shake up my seed capital to go do other things. So I just do a lot of partnering with people. So owner financing and notes, like I said, I've never asked a bank for anything in over 25 years. And I've bought and sold lots of properties and notes and did private loans and borrowed money and, whatever, that dance between property and paper. So that's me. I was always talking, let's unplug from the vampires of Washington and Wall Street. Be your own bank. Be your own bank.
Literally, yeah. That's awesome.
My tagline was creating financial solutions, just one mom and pop to another. Forget the banks. Now I'm okay if I can leverage somebody else's bank loan. You take a property subject to the existing loan. That's a little trickier legally these days, but it can be done if it's done properly. But so it's all about that. And so unplugging from the vampires of Washington and Wall Street was always one of my big things. And now crypto takes the whole content, it one-ups it.
Yeah.
Like unplugging, this is like real unplugging, because I still have to deal in dollars. Like, borrowers pay money, and then I pay my lenders, my investing partners, we pay dollars. So I'm still plugged in, just a little less. I don't ask for permission to close a real estate deal, never. And people, nobody does owner financing in this area. And I know that's funny, because I just bought 3 properties in the last 4 years, my 2 principal residences, a duplex, and I always get owner financing, because that's the perfect lender for me, and I'll carry for people too. But anyway, that's the thing that I love. And then to me, it's like, well, I love what I do, and I solve a lot of problems that people need in this market. Especially if they're like, hey, I just need out from under my payments and I don't want a short sale or foreclosure on my record, or gosh, multifamily. I mean, some of these other things, commercial buildings, they're having a lot of trouble.
Right.
You got to carry paper, folks. You got to carry paper. And if you need more cash, you can always sell a piece of that note off to someone like me. There's lots of note buyers out there. And so I come in and say, here's how the deal can make it work so that the numbers work out good, for everybody. Like if you do it right, it's not even a painful discount. It's just creating solutions, right? But then, man, crypto takes that whole message and just puts it on steroids. That's what it does. Be your own bank. And so like, I'm so jazzed. And I haven't heard you really talk about, anyway, so that whole thing's over at notequeen.com, that whole.
Thanks. NoQueen.com. That's what I was waiting for. I'll have the link in the description.
Yeah, please go sign up over there. I got a bunch of free downloads and cool information, years of content that I've put together since 2008. I've just done a ton of content, and I have so much for free over there. So please go visit me. And I have a YouTube I forget what it's called, actually. NQ Capital, owner financing, and I can't even remember my own YouTube channel right this second.
We'll put it in the link in the description.
Yeah, but anyway, but yeah, I mean, just things like, so do you do the Cardano thing, like the big platforms that were a big deal, like Aave and like just lending out your Bitcoin and your ETH and stuff like that. Are you looking at those big types of things personally, or
So
are you
absolutely,
doing the
yeah, 100%. I'm waiting until the market gets a little bit more mature. Okay, just because you have to, it's like if I go on to, so Aave is a lending platform built on the Ethereum blockchain. It's super popular. So you could go on to Aave and you can lend out your Ethereum, and then rewarded for lending out your ETH, right?
right?
Problem is that, let's say it's great now, Ethereum's what, like $2,300, and it goes to 8 grand. But what happens if it drops right back down to like $1,000, and you don't have that ETH because you got greedy and you just kept like overextending yourself? You got, if it's an over collateralization of a loan, and you can get liquidated.
That's if you're the borrower, but what's the downside if you're the lender?
I don't know. It's a good,
Yeah,
I guess not so much unless people can't pay it back.
yeah, but they've already put up the over collateralization, so you'll get their ETH, and then, you'll get
Yeah.
whatever collateral they put up, which maybe even if it's down, eventually it's going to go back up.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the thing is, so I've talked about this. I know I taught classes about this. Another thing is, I'm not a big fan of ETH, just to be upfront,
Oh,
because I think Ethereum is super centralized. I think they're backed by JP Morgan, Consensus. I think there was like their initial coin offering was like way worse than Ripple's initial coin offering with XRP, but like there's like a whole big to do about it. So I'm looking at Meld. Meld is a savings loan, decentralized bank, a place where you can swap 16 different currencies, have a debit card, go buy goods and services. It's like kind of like all in one kind of ecosystem. And
mhm.
it's also built on Cardano, Avalanche, Ethereum, Tron, like about 7 or 8 different platforms. So it's multi-chain. So people
Yeah.
who participate in all these different ecosystems can participate in this. So I'm waiting for that. And I've been following this project for a couple of years. And and again, like I think just for someone like me, like I'm so risk averse. I'm not doing yield farming. I'm not doing it, but I will. But I mean, for right now, like, I mean, we can all just live off of our staking rewards and, say la vie. Right?
Yeah, yeah, interesting on that. But you have XRP too, right, though?
I do.
Well, isn't that a super centralized kind of central government? They could base a lot of stuff on it too? Or why is that
Totally.
than ETH?
So here's why it's different. Brad Garlinghouse and all of the executives from Ripple, they were honest. We're here to make cross-border payments between banking systems, and for, cross-border payments cheaper, faster, and efficient. They never lied. They were 100% transparent the entire time. And until society goes through a major shift, as far as I know, we're still using all these different banking systems, the SWIFT system, all these different trading firms, and cross-border payments is $157 trillion a year business. So if I'm going to do a wire transfer and I'm going to pay 40, $50, or I'm going to do XRP and pay less than a penny, I'm going to do XRP.
Yeah, totally. Um, shoot,
Do
just,
you hold XRP?
oh yeah. Oh, I was gonna ask, to
Yeah.
me, it's in such a great, like with a lot of things, um, I liquidated some stuff. Now there's I have a hodl position that's relatively, let's say 75% of my stuff. But then there's 25% that I will play with it. And so I liquidated some things to be ready for when Bitcoin pulls back to its prior support or resistance levels, whatever you call that.
Sure.
But just like for TA, just tech analysis, or is that what you call it? Technical
Yeah.
analysis.
TA. Yeah.
From TA perspective, it's due to do that. And then I think when that happens, it'll wash out and really provide great buying opportunities, not only to get back into Bitcoin, but for all these other alts that will probably really pull back hard when that happens. The thing that doesn't seem to be trading along, so like XRP seems like it's doing its own thing, like it didn't go way up when everything else, and it's not, seems like it's just like staying in this 50 to 60 cents range. But so to me, the other things I pulled back and I'm waiting to reaccumulate when Bitcoin goes down into that 33,000 range, lower. But XRP still seems like a screaming buy. Like, so every week I'm still buying XRP and XLM, those two things. What do you think that's smart? What are you doing? The meld, I love the idea, but like I have to use a VPN. Like I can't access it unless I'm hiding my IP address. Do you not run into that?
No. So for Meld, you couldn't participate like in the airdrop and all like the fun things that they did, and they were going to reward us with tokens because I signed up for it. But you can create a NAMI wallet,
I
connect,
did that.
right? So you have Cardano on your NAMI wallet, go to a decentralized exchange. I use MinSwap. You launch the app, you connect your wallet, and you're swapping your Cardano for Meld, and that's it.
Okay.
You shouldn't need a VPN for it.
Oh, okay. I did that part then. I
Yeah,
did that part. But it seemed like, yeah, when I went onto it, I go, wait, wow, I'm frustrated that I can't participate fully on their platform. But anyway,
right.
back to my prior.
Over 140 countries are like participating with Meld, and the United States
No
blocks us.
kidding. Yeah,
Right.
I'm so
So
glad they keep me safe. Don't you feel good and warm and cozy when
I
your
feel so
government keeps you
safe.
safe?
I feel
I
so safe.
I just think they love me. I think they care for me a lot.
I love it. I love it. I
Mommy,
know.
mommy,
It's
daddy,
so
daddy, daddy.
they're not coming. They're not gonna help us. Man, I just saw in New York City, they just launched like this thing. They look like little black boxes to read your license plate from the front and the back to charge you a congestion tax for riding through a certain part of the city.
So when do we start shooting those down?
We should be right now,
I
but we're
should be
not.
ripping them right off, ripping them right down, just like
I
they did
know.
in the UK. Remember those people over there? You're not turning this into a freaking little 15-minute city. Heck
Yeah.
no. They just kept
Right.
everything down.
And the crazy thing is, it's like I'm not against the concept. I'm against collecting our data and no, you can't be like collecting our data and monetizing it or using it against us, for a social credit score. No. But do I want to, go visit LA and not sit in traffic for 3 hours? Sure. But there's got to be all the time data dumps. They got to figure this out. And I
Yeah.
just get concerned because AI is progressing so quickly, and there's no regulation, there's no talk about ethics. And when is it going to be too late? I mean, we've been at this with cryptocurrency for all these years, and we still don't have regulatory clarity on what's a security, what's a commodity. I saw Gary Gensler being questioned at, during the congressional hearing. And the senator was like, is Ethereum a security? Gary Gensler would not answer that question. And this was just a couple months ago. But then you have BlackRock, like, everyone's going to start filing spot Ethereum ETFs, like they're coming, and then we'll get XRP. I don't know what the deal is with XRP. They got sued. They paid over $100 million. The SEC let XRP trade for 7 years. And then Jay Clayton dropped the lawsuit from the SEC. He drops the lawsuit the last day of his job. And like, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I definitely think it's something because it wouldn't be such a big deal. Right now it's trading like a stable coin, but you look at TA, if technical analysis is true for XRP, it moves last and it moves the fastest.
Yeah, it feels like this is that boring time you should be accumulating before it makes a move. And
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm willing. I'm willing for things to look smart for a change. When I was telling people about crypto, the beginning of, was that 21 where it kind of the top of, and then it went down after that later in the year. I've looked pretty dumb for a couple of years, but I've just kept staying at it and accumulating on pullbacks and different things and diversifying more. And I'm like, I'm prepared to look smart for a change.
Well,
Yeah.
and and again, it's an investment in the new financial system, in the
Yeah.
new infrastructure of the internet of value. We are sending value digitally, peer to peer, because of the blockchain. It's hard for us to wrap our heads around that. So, sometimes it's just like, oh man, I should have took more profits, right? But then, if you think about Amazon, when was the best time to sell Amazon? Well, never, because it just corrects and it goes back up. And if you look at like the historical chart of Bitcoin, it's moving up to the right with corrections. It's doing its thing. And we're this time next year, we're going to be sitting here and we're going to be like, I mean, what are we going to do? I was running around New York telling people to buy Bitcoin all summer long. It was 20 grand. Well, now it's 43. You're going to wait till it's 80?
Yeah.
Because,
Man, right. Yeah. Back in 2020, 2021, before I sort of just rolled up shop for my long sabbatical, I was like, you guys that are all following me because of this, real estate and notes kind of thing, get a little Bitcoin. And it was like between 8 and 10 grand. And, no, most people didn't ever listen. And then it went up to 40 and then it went back down to what, 15. But it's like, yeah, no, I'm pretty excited, but I want to roll out of a meaningful amount to do some things that will make me more economic resilient in my day-to-day life. There's some infrastructure improvements. There's some things that will just make me more, well, sovereign and resilient and no matter what happens kind of thing, like maybe, a big generator thing, a big solar complex, things that will paying off, just increasing my own cash flow from the investments I already have by just paying off, some of my investing partners and things. Just like, what can I do that will make me be able to be a sort of shelter for the people that I love and the people that circle in my tribe, let's get through this awkward time that we're going to be going through. It's going to be good on the other side, but we're going to have to get through, messy stuff.
Really. Yeah, there's already messy stuff going on, it's just, it's already happening. So, I mean, I think that Bitcoin's not just a hedge, it's a store of value. It's the first peer-to-peer blockchain that makes it like real. Like we can send each other money through the internet without permission. That is such a big deal. And I just, and it's not just Bitcoin, but when we look at, the tokenization of the bond market. Like sometimes I'm like, well, what can save our current financial system? Well, tokenizing all the debt, all the bonds, all the real estate. You're taking something that's normally illiquid, an illiquid asset, and you're making it liquid. So that friction is being removed and more money can flow into the system. I mean, it's really interesting building upon the economy that we already have, expanding it because of the blockchain, So I'm interested to see how this whole thing plays out for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, well, this has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on for this chat. I really appreciate this time with you and just really appreciate what you do. I think it's so important. So
We're going
thank
to
you.
keep doing it. We're going to keep rocking on. If anybody has any questions, I got a new website. It's called hodlon.me because Dawn, when we end our show here, I had to rebrand from Two Women in Crypto. So, every time I like to end the show, you know what I like to say?
Hold on.
Hodl on.
Awesome.